Mom said, "This vacation is for those who make us proud." My name wasn't on the list. I just replied, "No problem." 2 weeks later, my mother called in a panic saying, "Pay for your sister's tuition for this month, it's important." I didn't say a word. It started 3 weeks before the trip. I live just 10 minutes from my parents' house, so I visit pretty often. Usually to drop something off, help out with errands, or just because Jolene's kids always run to me when I walk through the door. They still do, even though their mother barely looks up when I come by. That month, every time I showed up, something new had changed in the house. First it was the stack of travel brochures on the counter. Then it was my mom and Jolene sitting at the kitchen table with airline sites pulled up on their phones. I heard them comparing cruise options, debating hotel packages, arguing over whether to fly out of JFK or Newark. There was no secrecy. They were planning it right there in front of me like I was part of the wallpaper. At first I figured maybe it was just talk. Something they were dreaming about. But each time I came by, the plans got more solid. They were checking weather in Nassau. They were talking about passport renewals. Jolene bought new swimsuits for the kids and left the tags on the table. There was a calendar on the wall with the departure date circled in gold Sharpie. I saw all of it. I heard everything. But no one said a word to me. I let it go the first few visits. I even joined a few of the conversations, nodding and laughing along. Thought maybe they were waiting to invite me until things were confirmed. Maybe they assumed I wouldn't want to go. It wasn't like I had kids or a husband or some big reason not to be included, unless you count the fact that I wasn't their pride and joy. Then one day, while Jolene was trying on sunglasses in the mirror and my mom was checking baggage fees, I said casually that the place looked beautiful. That it sounded like a dream. My mom didn't even look up. She just said, "This vacation is for those who make us proud." She said it like it was policy. No warmth. No awkward laugh. Just a fact. Jolene didn't say anything either. She just kept scrolling on her phone. I said no problem, grabbed what I came for and walked out. After that, I started keeping track. Every little detail. I noticed how they never stopped to think how it might feel, planning something like that right in front of me, excluding me without ever actually saying the words. I stopped asking questions. Just listened. Smiled. Took it all in. Then about a week before the trip, I got a text from my mom. She asked if I'd be willing to watch Jolene's kids while they were gone. Said it would only be a week. They love their Auntie B. I stared at it for a while. I'd just seen the kids' suitcases packed by the front door the day before. Clearly they were supposed to go. Something must have changed. I didn't answer. The next day, another message. "Let us know if you can help with the kids. We leave Sunday." I replied the day after that. "They should go with you. They're your responsibility." She wrote back, "Okay. No problem. No argument. No discussion. Just fine." Like I was a maybe that didn't pan out. Sunday morning they left. I knew because Jolene posted a boomerang of their airport drinks on Instagram. Big smiles. Matching straw hats. No kids in sight. I tried not to think about it. Thought maybe they left the kids with someone else. Until Wednesday afternoon. Mrs. Levin from across the street called. Said she didn't want to get involved, but she'd heard crying, real crying, coming from the upstairs window at my parents' house. It had been going on for a while. Then she heard one of the kids yell that they were hungry. That was enough for her to call me. I didn't even lock my front door. I just drove straight over. The house looked exactly the same as it had 3 days earlier. Quiet. So, no cars in the driveway. No lights on. I knocked and rang the bell until my knuckles hurt. Nothing. I went around back and saw the kitchen window cracked open. I climbed through. The kids were there. Alone. No sitter. No food. Their bags were still packed by the door. The fridge had 2 juice boxes, a half-eaten cake, and a container of takeout rice that had gone bad. They'd been wearing the same clothes I saw them in last Friday. They were scared. Hungry. But when they saw me, they ran into my arms like everything was okay again. I didn't call anyone. I didn't leave a note. I didn't say a word to my mother or Jolene. I just took the kids home. And I left that kitchen window wide open. I didn't sleep the first night. I sat in the dark with a blanket around my shoulders, listening to the quiet. The kids were asleep in the guest room. Safe, clean, full for the first time in days. I checked on them every hour. Not because I thought anything would happen, but because I still couldn't believe they were really there, that their mother had actually gone on vacation and left them behind. All night I kept waiting for my phone to ring. It never did. Thursday came and went the same way. No calls, no messages, not even a post from Jolene that mentioned her kids. Just more resort photos. Cocktails, palm trees, selfies with mom and dad smiling like they'd earned it. I scrolled through them for a long time. Every single one looked like a reward for something I didn't do wrong. I took the kids to the park that afternoon. I needed air. They needed to see something bright. They ran around for hours, laughing like none of it had happened. I kept checking my phone, half expecting someone to text and ask where they were. But nobody did. By Friday morning, I'd stopped giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'd seen enough to know this wasn't a misunderstanding. I wasn't dealing with forgetfulness or bad communication. I was dealing with people who had decided consciously that the kids were an afterthought. Around 10 that morning, my phone finally rang. My mom's name flashed across the screen. I didn't hesitate, I answered, thinking finally. Her voice was light, relaxed. She said she was calling from the resort lobby. I could hear waves in the background. She said she needed me to pay Jolene's college tuition for the month. It was due that day and Jolene didn't have her laptop with her. That was it. No mention of the kids. Not a single word. I asked her if she'd even checked on them. He paused, confused. What do you mean? I told her exactly what I meant. I told her Mrs. Levin had called me because she heard screaming from the house. I told her I found the kids alone, hungry, terrified. I told her I'd taken them with me and that they were safe now, but not because of her or Jolene. There was a long silence on the line. Then she started to say something defensive probably, but I cut her off. I told her she wasn't getting them back. I told her Jolene wasn't getting them back either. I said I'd already written everything down. Every detail. That Mrs. Levin heard them crying, that the window was open, that I had photos of the fridge, the bags, the empty house. That I wasn't covering for any of them this time. Then I hung up. Blocked her. Blocked Jolene. Blocked my dad. For the first time in years, the silence that followed felt like peace. That evening, I sat at my dining table and opened my laptop. I wrote everything down again, this time in a statement format. Just in case. I printed a copy and kept it in a folder with the kids' names written on the front. Then I called Mrs. Levin. I told her I might need her help soon, and before I could even explain, she said she'd already told her husband what she heard that day. She said they'd both stand by it. That night, I tucked the kids into bed. They were still laughing, asking if their mom was home yet. I just told them they'd be staying with me for a while. When they fell asleep, I went to the window and looked out toward my parents' house. Still dark. Still empty. Saturday morning came and I saw the airport post. They were home. Sunburned, smiling, acting like nothing had happened. I waited. I didn't call. I didn't explain. I wanted them to walk into that quiet house and feel the same emptiness they'd left behind. They got back Saturday afternoon. I was sitting at the kitchen table with the kids, helping them draw pumpkins on orange construction paper, when I heard the car doors slam. Then came the sound of my dad's horn like he always did after trips, followed by Jolene laughing and my mom calling out something I couldn't quite make out. From the window, I saw them unload their bags, sunglasses still on, sunburned in full post-vacation glow. They had no idea. I didn't say anything to the kids. I didn't need to. They didn't ask. They were busy choosing between green and black markers for the stems. I let them keep coloring. About 10 minutes later, the calls started. My mom called first, then Jolene, then my dad. It was non-stop, one after the other, back to back. No voicemails, just ringing. I let the screen go dark every time, didn't even touch the phone. I waited for a message, some explanation, some hint of panic or guilt. Nothing, just the calls. I knew what was happening. They had walked into a silent house, expecting to hear little feet running down the stairs, expecting hugs and chaos and laughter. Instead, they walked into emptiness. Packed bags still by the front door. The same silence they left behind. And the kitchen window, still cracked open. Around 7:30 that night, the knocking started. They didn't bother with the doorbell. Just loud, fast banging like they were entitled to an answer. I didn't look. Didn't need to. I kept the kids in the back room with a movie and waited for the noise to stop. But it didn't. I heard Jolene shouting my name. Then the kids' names. Then crying. Then silence. Eventually, the knocking faded, replaced by a note taped to my door. Barbara, we need to talk. You've taken this too far. Too far. That's what they thought. Sunday I stayed quiet. Let them stew in it. No calls. No response. I knew what I was doing and I wasn't interested in a family meeting about it. I'd been invisible to them for so long, it almost felt like a mistake that they suddenly remembered my number. Monday morning I made my move. I called the child welfare hotline. I told the woman on the line everything from the start. I explained that Jolene and my parents had left for a week-long vacation and left 2 children, ages 4 and 6, alone in a locked house with no food and no adult supervision. I gave the date. I gave the time. I gave Mrs. Levin's name and phone number. I told them how I entered the house, how the kids looked, what they said. The woman didn't sound shocked, just serious. Said someone would follow up, and they did. Tuesday afternoon, I got a call from Child Protective Services. A caseworker named Dana asked if she could come by the next day. I said yes. Wednesday morning, Dana showed up at 10 o'clock on the dot. She was polite, calm, and sharp. She looked around my apartment, spoke to the kids, asked about their routines, asked what they ate, how they were sleeping. I gave her everything. Printed statements. Photos. A full timeline. I even handed over the note from the door. She took her time. When she was ready to leave, she said the agency would be making a recommendation that the children remain with me, at least for now, pending investigation. Temporary guardianship. She said it wouldn't be instant, but based on what I told her and what the neighbors had reported, it was likely. He thanked me. That night I got the official call. The kids were staying with me. The moment it sank in, I looked over at them curled up in front of the TV, sharing a blanket and a bowl of cereal like it was any other Wednesday. I felt everything at once. Relief, anger, exhaustion. But mostly clarity. I had done the right thing. The fallout came fast. That same night, Jolene sent a string of texts. First asking if the kids were with me. Then accusing. Then full-blown rage. You had no right. You betrayed me. You're ruining my life. Not once did she ask if they were okay. Not once did she say she was sorry. My mom tried next. Left a voicemail saying, "We can sort this out as a family." She sounded annoyed, not concerned. As if I was overreacting. As if leaving two small kids alone in a house for days was something that could be explained away over coffee. I didn't answer. I didn't respond. Because nothing was ever going to be the same again. They had left those children behind like forgotten keys on a counter. And now they wanted to pretend they didn't. But I was done pretending. I wasn't giving them back. The kids were officially staying with me. I had the paperwork in a folder on my bookshelf. Temporary guardianship, pending further investigation. CPS had already made their first visit, and another was scheduled for the following week. It wasn't over, not by a long shot, but for now they were safe. And they were with me. I didn't give them a big speech about what was happening. I just told them they'd be staying at my place a little longer, and they nodded like it was the most normal thing in the world. I don't think they even asked why. What does that say? Jolene didn't take it well. She went from silent to frantic almost overnight. I woke up to walls of texts, some pleading, some threatening, most irrational. She blamed me, accused me of kidnapping, said I was turning her babies against her, that I'd never understand what it's like to be a mother, that I was jealous, that I was trying to steal her life. I read every word and didn't respond. What could I say? Then came the email from my mom. It was shorter than I expected. One paragraph, written in that overly formal tone she used when she wanted to sound reasonable but couldn't hide the sharp edges underneath. She said this had gone too far, that she hoped I'd come to my senses before I did something that couldn't be undone. I didn't respond to that either. But on Thursday afternoon something happened I didn't expect. My dad showed up at my door. Alone. That alone was strange. I don't remember the last time he came to see me without my mom, or without being sent by her. But there he was. No jacket, just holding his car keys like he was planning to leave as quickly as he came. I opened the door just enough to make it clear I wasn't in the mood for a long conversation. He didn't push his way in. He didn't raise his voice. He just stood there and said, "I know you're angry. I get it." I waited. Then he said, "Your mother wanted to hire a sitter. Last minute. Jolene told her no. Said Barbara will do it. She always does." I just stared at him. He went on. Told me they were supposed to ask me. That it was the plan. That my mom thought Jolene had talked to me and Jolene thought the same about her. And by the time they got to the airport they assumed I had it under control. He wasn't defending it, at least not exactly. But he was trying to soften it. Trying to reframe it as a miscommunication, a crossed wire. But it wasn't that. I know it wasn't. Because I remember the exact text Jolene sent me that week. "Let us know if you can help. We leave Sunday." Not "you're confirmed." Not "thanks for agreeing." Let us know. They left anyway. They never followed up. Never confirmed. Never even called. I asked him why no one checked in once they landed. He didn't answer that part. Just looked tired. Then he said, "Don't make this permanent, Barbara. Please." And I realized then he didn't come to apologize. He came to negotiate. I closed the door without another word. The next day, CPS called to schedule a second home visit. But that wasn't the biggest surprise. Friday night around 8:30, there was another knock at the door. I expected more of the same. Maybe my mom, maybe Jolene's new attempt to guilt me into giving the kids back. But it wasn't either of them. It was Darren, the kid's dad. I hadn't seen him in almost 2 years. The last time I did he was a mess, jobless, angry, unreliable. But now, he looked clean, calm, nervous maybe but focused. He asked if we could talk privately. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. He said he heard about what happened. A friend of Jolene's told him the whole story, probably more for gossip than out of any sense of duty. But it shook him. Then he said the last thing I expected. I want custody. I didn't say anything at first. I just looked at him trying to figure out if this was real or just a reaction. Some knee-jerk need to insert himself because it wasn't about him anymore. But he didn't backpedal. He told me he'd been sober for 8 months. Said he had a steady job now, had his own apartment. He said he knew he wasn't a good father before but that this was different. I didn't even know they were alone, he said. If I had known, I would have come for them myself. I believed him. He wasn't polished. He wasn't perfect. But he was honest. And he was the only one besides me who seemed to care about the kids more than the optics. He asked what he needed to do. I told him to leave his number, that CPS would need to know. That I wasn't going to promise anything, but I wouldn't stand in the way if he was serious. He handed me a crumpled business card with his cell written on the back. I'll do it the right way, he said before walking back to his car. I stood there for a long time after he left, holding the card. Everything had changed again. This wasn't just about protecting the kids anymore. It was about deciding who deserved them. By Monday, my apartment had stopped feeling like it belonged to just me. The kids had routines now. They argued over cereal flavors, drew pictures of our little street, and started leaving their shoes next to the door without being asked. I caught the youngest calling my place our house when she was on a toy phone and I didn't correct her. I think that's when it hit me, this wasn't temporary anymore. Not for them. CPS came back for their second visit that morning. Dana brought another woman, this time older, more formal. They checked everything, again. They asked more questions. The supervisor flipped through my logs, the photos, the texts I'd printed out from Jolene, all of it. I didn't hold anything back. I told them about Darren too. That he'd shown up, clean, sober, and asking to be considered. They made note of everything. Said they'd be initiating the process for a formal custody hearing. It was happening faster than I'd expected, but I was ready. And then just when it felt like we might be finding some kind of steady ground, chaos came knocking. Literally. Tuesday evening, someone started pounding on my door. Not knocking, pounding like they wanted to break it open. The kids froze in the hallway and I told them to go to the bedroom and close the door. I looked through the peephole. It was Aunt Gloria. I hadn't seen her in over a year. She lived 2 towns over and usually only surfaced around Christmas. She wasn't smiling. I opened the door just enough to block her from seeing inside. You're tearing the family apart, she said. No hello. No small talk. She had come with a mission. I asked her if she knew what had happened. She said she didn't need the details. That whatever it was, it should have stayed in the family. That I had no business getting the government involved. That Jolene was going through a rough time, and I should have supported her, not turned against her. I didn't yell. I didn't even raise my voice. I just told her plainly that Jolene left her children, alone for 3 days. No food. No sitter. No calls. Just locked them in and flew off to sip cocktails with my parents. I asked her if that sounded like someone who needed protection, or someone who needed consequences. She went quiet. Just for a second. Then she said something I should have expected but still felt like a punch. Your mother says if you go through with this, she'll never speak to you again. I looked her in the eye and said, then I guess we finally understand each other. And I closed the door. Wednesday passed quietly. I didn't hear from any of them. No calls. No banging. No guilt trips. I took the kids to a bookstore, let them pick out 2 paperbacks each, and we stopped for ice cream on the way home. I didn't say it, but I was trying to give them one good day before the next storm hit. It came Thursday morning. A knock this time. Calm. Measured. But I knew before I opened the door that this one would be worse. It was a woman in a dark blazer holding a folder and a polished smile. She handed me a card that read Family Law and Mediation Services. She was Jolene's attorney. We're preparing to petition for full custody, she said. You'll be formally served in the next few days. Full custody. No shared arrangement. No supervised visits. Jolene was going for everything, like nothing had happened. Like none of this was real. I stood there holding the paper after she left, barely hearing the kids behind me watching cartoons, one of them laughing at something. I didn't move for a while. That night, Darren texted me. CPS had called him. They scheduled an in-home evaluation at his apartment next week. He said he cleaned it twice already. Asked what else he should do to get ready. He said, I want to do this right this time. I told him I'd help however I could. Because like it or not, this wasn't just a fight between me and my family anymore. Now it was a fight for the kids. And I was going to win it. The official custody hearing was still a few weeks away, but things were already shifting. Darren's evaluation had gone well. CPS confirmed that his apartment was clean, safe, and that he had everything the kids would need: beds, clothes, food, structure. He was nervous when he told me but also proud. Said it was the first time in years someone looked at his life and didn't tell him it wasn't enough. I didn't tell him, but I'd already spoken to the caseworker. Told her the kids were happy here. That they loved Darren but they didn't know him well anymore. That I wasn't trying to keep them from their father, but I wasn't going to hand them over just because he suddenly remembered he wanted to be involved. CPS didn't seem eager to rush anything. They wanted a slow transition, if there was one. Supervised visits first. Stability was the priority. I agreed with that. Jolene, on the other hand, was unraveling. She tried a new angle almost every day. One morning I got a string of texts apologizing, saying she wasn't in the right headspace, and thought the sitter situation was handled, and never meant for this to happen. 2 days later she posted a long vague rant on Facebook about people who steal what isn't theirs, and how family will always find its way back. Then she started showing up again. She waited outside my apartment building twice that week. I didn't let her in either time. The second time she had a gift bag in her hand, cheap toys from the dollar store, a juice box, and a handwritten card that said, "Mommy loves you." I gave it to CPS. I wasn't going to be the reason she had another excuse to twist the story. That weekend a letter came from her lawyer. A formal request for visitation. Unsupervised. I laughed when I opened it. Jolene still thought this was about getting her life back. That she could put on a clean shirt, smile through a meeting, and everyone would pretend nothing had happened. She didn't know that Mrs. Levin had given her own written statement to CPS, complete with a detailed description of the crying, the window, and how long the kids had been alone. She didn't know that Darren had met with a private attorney who was now reviewing his rights as the biological father, and was likely going to file his own claim for custody. She didn't know that the court wasn't interested in who cried the loudest. They cared about who showed up. And for the first time in years, that person was me. Then on Tuesday morning, something happened I hadn't seen coming. My mom showed up at my work. I was on my break walking to my car to grab something, when I saw her standing near the back parking lot, arms crossed, holding a folder. I wanted to walk past her. Ignore her. But I didn't. She walked up like she just bumped into me at the store. Said she needed 5 minutes. I gave her 3. She handed me the folder, photos of the kids. Old ones. Baby pictures. Holidays. Jolene holding them. Me in the background, always slightly off to the side. Then she looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "Don't punish us because you're finally getting attention." I blinked. That was it. That was what she thought all this was. Revenge. A spotlight. Not protection. Not safety. Not love. I told her the only reason she even cared now was because someone else was watching. Then I walked away. Later that night when I got home, the oldest was sitting by the front door waiting for me. She handed me a drawing. It was me, her brother, and Darren. We were standing in front of my apartment. The words written in crayon above it. "This is my real family now." I didn't cry, but I almost did. And I promised myself then, Jolene will never get them back. Not ever.